Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, live from Riga. My name is Kristjan Piirsalu. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer of RB Rail, and I will give you an overview of the Rail Baltica procurement. First of all, let's take a look at what we have done in 2021. And then, after my presentation as well, my dear colleagues will give you more insight into the consolidated materials, as well as into the tips and tricks, as Kurt's nicely said as well. So, one of the things in procurement that is really significant for us is communication. And it's, of course, a true trick in terms of communication throughout the pandemic period to keep the communication flowing, to make sure that we have the interface with the supply market. And that's really key, because procurement is not just an activity that we do, it's interaction with the supply market and finding the partners that we need so much to make sure that we deliver and implement this project. So throughout this difficult period, we have, I believe, relatively well managed to keep these interfaces going, and had instead of the physical interfaces, different types of briefing sessions and online questionnaires and other exercises to make sure we get the input that we need and we provide the information that the market needs. And this has been crucial for providing the preparation input for the mainline construction tenders that are currently ongoing already, if we refer to Latvia, for instance, and also for the consolidated procurement activities for the consolidated materials frameworks. So that is something that we do as a continuous established practice, keeping the supplier interfaces and making sure that we undertake regular market research before procurement exercises are undertaken for the preparation before we launch anything. In addition to that, we obviously undertake as well market research exercises, questionnaires. So about a year ago from now, we undertook the market outlook questionnaire, a survey to understand how the COVID pandemic has impacted the market, what it has in store for us, and what impact we might be expecting going forward. And now, this year, at the beginning of November, we undertook further market consultation exercises to understand the construction market and the recent trends and development, in order to make sure that we go into the heavy construction phase and construction procurement with the right set of understanding and tools. Key tenders for the year have been, of course, for RB Rail, the energy subsystem engineering services. And we now have the partner on board and are delivering, are going into the specifics in terms of the further procurement strategy for deployment of the energy subsystems. Also, the consolidated procurement procedures are ongoing. There are further packages coming out, which we will look into later as well. And to look at the width and the different types of suppliers out there for the Rail Baltica market, then something that has been really good for, I believe, the market as well, has been the expert services framework, where we have 18 different lots for specialist services included in the entire framework, where both the local and bigger international companies were able to participate, and where we signed for the entire framework more than 100 contracts for delivering ad hoc and specialist expertise services. Regarding the procurement procedures and procurement policy, on the policy side, of course, we undertook the study on procurement law advantages, procurement systems differences, and procurement practice differences in the Baltic countries, and that informed the governance development requirements going forward, and that was also one of the inputs that we used for updating the common procurement standards and guidelines, which is available on our website, which is the basis, the procurement policy for the overall global project of Rail Baltica. Negotiations on the project are being applied more and more. So we have, for complex exercises, undertaken more and more competitive procedures with negotiations to make sure that we have mutual understanding, that we relieve risk, and that we really get the partners that we need. And of course, the procurement policy will be, and procurement practice will be developing further based on where the project is in its development phase, and also based on the market feedback and market conditions as well. If we look now deeper into each of the countries where we have the national implementing bodies providing the and leading the activities, the procurement activities in each country, then in Estonia we have Rail Baltica Estonia that is managing the procurement procedures, and the main achievements for them have been the dynamic purchasing systems that they have put in place for structures and for high voltage line crossings. And the main activities that they have undertaken across the year have been related with the construction procurement of ecoducts and road viaducts. And if we look at the Latvian implementing body activities, of course there has been the big challenge of putting together and launching the mainline construction package, which is the biggest procurement package that has been launched in Latvia. And of course the Riga airport terminal, Rail Baltica terminal construction tender that has been finished, and the works are ongoing on that one. There have been other tenders, of course, relating to the infrastructure maintenance facilities as well as the regional stations design. If we look at Lithuania, then where the LTG Infra is the implementing body delivering the procurement activities, then they have had the challenges somewhat similar to the Estonian implementing body of putting in place the dynamic purchasing systems for the construction of embankment, local access roads, and superstructure elements. And of course, one of the key achievements has been the procurement of the Neris bridge construction. As I said earlier, the market communication and market feedback is really crucial for us. So about a year ago, we did undertake this survey and got a good response back from 77 suppliers. It was fairly equally split in terms of the types of companies, the size of companies, and there were three key items where impact had been experienced by the suppliers, and that was firstly, the suppliers had to request improved payment terms from their clients, of course with the COVID downturn and everything that happened. The second item was delays in and suspension in terms of services and works and in deliveries. And the third item was loss of orders. So these were the impacts up to that point in time that we got feedback that had been experienced. Then we also asked the question of looking forward a year from that year and a half to really understand what we have to do on Rail Baltica to make sure that we retain competition, that our procurement standards and procurement policy and practice is reasonable. We looked at what impact is experienced over the further months and year and a half. And the 5 items that we got back was that the payment terms still need to be further improved. In terms of the cash flow, there's still a need to improve further. There would still be a need to improve the consistency of supply. So there would be further delays and possible further suspension. There would be probable financing issues. Insurances and guarantees would be more difficult to obtain. The supplier prices might increase further, and there would be continued logistics and deliveries issues. So we have all experienced and seen those as well, and that has been something that we have taken rather seriously. And if we look at the common procurement standards and guidelines, then in the update of those, we also took into account these items and updated the policy also from that angle to make sure that we open up the project to a wider competition, ensuring the success for the project from the procurement angle. And one of the questions that we asked also in this questionnaire was about evaluation criteria. We wanted to understand from the suppliers what they see as important evaluation criteria for the Rail Baltica project. What is their opinion? And of course, proposal price is always there, it will always be there. But the suppliers also felt that this should not be the only criterion. There should be other things that we should look at, of course. And this is what we have to a great extent been doing as well. The quality and the logic of the time schedule, the terms of delivery for goods, the sustainability of the contracting partner, the warranty period, then looking at the methodology, looking at the quality management, looking at the environmental management and previous experience, of course, as well. And so these were the items that we looked at and made sure that we assessed them in the preparation of our tenders. Now, in terms of the survey that we did this year, or rather not the survey, but the supplier consultations that we did this year, the business-to-business meetings that we held in the first half of November, then there we got also some key feedback from the suppliers when we talked about the future mainline construction. And there were some risks associated that were highlighted with possible labor shortages and inflation, price rises, things like that. So those, of course, we will be addressing going forward. There were also items related to the balance of contractual conditions, because we are one-of-a-kind project, and we have to make sure on one hand that we safeguard the investment, but also we have to be fair on the market. So this is a continuous exercise of making sure that we achieve that balance. And of course, for the market participants, there is the importance of packaging, making sure that the procurement packages are allowing competition for local, for international, making the optimum mix of companies and expertise involved. Also, if we talk about packaging, it's not just about the packages itself, but it's about the consistency of the construction methodology and construction technology across the project. So these were some of the items, the features that came up also from this, and we very much value this feedback. This helps us in preparing for procurement exercises, preparing our documentation, and going forward into the next stages as well. So then, a way forward, what we do going forward and what we've done already. We have done a lot in terms of making sure that the procurement policy is acceptable both for the project leaders and also for the companies that come and participate. And so we have taken into account the current market conditions and everything aforementioned, improve the conditions to make them more flexible and adjust better to the market conditions. We have eased the requirements a little bit as well in terms of the turnover requirements, for instance. And we have provided flexibility to contracting authorities on the project to take into account more operatively the market research information and then adjust their procurement conditions accordingly. And of course, we have also introduced data protection requirements, which we didn't have in the policy before in terms of the qualification requirements, so that has been introduced. And in terms of our practice, then of course we have created this standard practice of regular market research, and we're making it now more regular, more directed to benefit from it more and be more open to the market. Something that is really important for us is the acceptability of the conditions so that we can make sure we have competition. And so we very much value this feedback and this interaction that we have with the market. And we are looking into also the payment conditions, advance payment options. These items are being assessed and scrutinized before we go out to tender with the package. Something that we are starting to apply more and more is after-tender questionnaire as well. So if any suppliers participating in our tenders get a questionnaire after the procurement procedure is finished, don't be surprised. This is something that we do now, and it helps us also with the feedback and benchmarking how we do on a continuous basis. Briefings. We also do briefings. We do briefings and market research, obviously, before tender. We do open days and briefings also during the tender. And when we give out tender results, then especially on key tenders, we also give debrief sessions, because we understand that tenders have invested heavily into some of the procurement exercises that we run. Some of the exercises, they are months and months long because of the complexity. So we aim to give also reasonable feedback and continuous learning to the supplier market. Upcoming tenders, so I will not go into too much detail. There are key items, of course, noted on the slides, and we're currently confirming and reviewing the procurement plans for next year. So these plans, once confirmed, will come out, and we will publish them on the website as well. So please do keep an eye out for that. We will send out newsletter notifications as well. But just very briefly, so we will, of course, continue from RB Rail side with consolidated procurement of materials. There are other packages coming out, such as noise barriers and fences, for instance. There will be further detailed design that we will go on to procure in Lithuania for the remaining sections. There will be energy subsystems and command control and signaling systems design and build packages coming out. And there will be other procurement opportunities as well for everybody there. In Estonia, from Rail Baltica Estonia, there will be the railway mainline construction procurement coming out step by step. There will be the keynote terminals like Ülemiste and Pärnu construction procurement coming out, and there will be further procurement activities and multimodal freight terminal construction activities, such kind of items coming out as well over the next year. In Latvia, where EDZL is undertaking the procurement activities, mainline construction and regional station design obviously are already ongoing and expecting participants. Mainline construction supervision will also come out, and there will be rolling stock depot design also coming out. In Lithuania, where LTG Infra is undertaking the procurement activities, there we have obviously the dynamic purchasing system based construction activities for mainline construction, Kaunas and embankment construction as well. There will be access road construction procurement coming out, and there will be further territorial planning also. So these are some of the key items that we will be publishing over the next months and a year. Something that we have run annually, usually before the usual global forum we've had, and which we will do also later on this year, is the supplier survey. So this is something that we use to benchmark how we're doing at RB Rail with our procurement exercises. This is something that we use to obtain anonymous market feedback. So this is something that we aim to launch fairly soon as well, so please do keep an eye out, and please note that it is anonymous, and we expect very much your feedback, and this feedback is useful for us engaging our practice and way ahead and adjust it where needed. So this is something that we do. So that overall completes my presentation. Thank you very much. We have a Q&A session later on as well, if any questions pop up. So thank you very much. I will hand back to Gers to